I want to talk to you today around optimization. Amazon has gotten really, really hard over the last few years. It used to be that you could throw up anything onto Amazon with stock images and you would sell and outsell your competition. But over the last few years, it has gotten increasingly more difficult, and you've had to become very good at content and product design. You have to differentiate in a very special way. And so the need to pull real audiences and people and develop that content in a very sophisticated way has become a huge part of success. And so today I'm joined by Peter Paul Maan with Intellivy, and we're going to talk about some of the case studies and some of the insights you get when you do product market research in the right way. Now, traditionally, a lot of products have been doing this for hundreds of years. You talk about going back to the day of creating ad campaigns and testing them with audiences, getting polls done. This has been around for many, many decades and is a major part of success for major brands. P&G brands have been doing this for a long time. Now, we need to start doing it with Amazon, and we need to do it the right way, because otherwise we're going to lose our money and we're going to fail at Amazon. And so Peter Paul joins us today, and he's got some incredible insights with some of the case studies that he's seen with why they've built their tool and the success that they've helped drive for some of their own products, including mine. I use their product. I've used real audiences to pull and to create designs and to create better designs, and those products are doing great. I've started using this type of process over the last 2 years, and now I don't launch a single product without going through this process. So, Peter Paul, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm excited to not only talk about product development and case studies and getting real feedback and your process and how you're an expert at it, but also a little bit about yourself and your background.
So let's start with that then, Brandon. Thanks. So my name
So
is
how did
Peter.
you get into this? Like, what were you doing before Intellivy?
That's a good question. So I'm over 25 years in sales. I think at the age of, I'm really gonna tell it like this is the first time I think that I'm mentioning it in this space. So let's do it. When I was 18, I had my driver's license, and I just loved cars. So I felt like I want to drive a nice car. So I joined a taxi company in my city. So I'm living in the Netherlands. It's quite different than the yellow cabs you have in the United States. But here it was just like a company having taxis, and they drove Mercedes, and I just loved that. And in that car, I drove a customer. He always asked for me, and we had such nice conversations together. And one day he asked me, like, why are you driving this? Why are you doing this taxi cab driving stuff? Because you're so knowledgeable and you are smart. I don't understand. Why? What are you doing here? So I said, well, that's the story. I'm just love to drive cars. He said, well, you know what? If you come to my office, and so he shared the address of his office. If you come to my address, to my office, I will have a car for you. And when you are with me, I will explain what you have to do to get it. So, okay, I'm in. So that morning, Monday morning, I went to that office, and I went in, and then he was sitting there. So the owner of the company with a pile of yellow pages. And he said to me, I'm selling this. So I'm not going to mention it because it will be very detailed. It was a specific product in home decor. But he said, like, I'm selling products for home decor. And in those yellow pages, you have like a bunch of potential customers. Just grab a book, go to a specific region. There's your car in front of the door. Drive over there and just enter those stores and start talking to those people, because I know they want to buy my products, but you have to make the connection. You have to do it. And I think you can do it. So that's how it all started. I was 90 years old and I started doing sales.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
oftentimes a lot of people don't realize that oftentimes salespeople, great salespeople in any type of company and organization, can make more than the CEO.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
did you make more than the CEO that year?
I think I did, yes. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I made a
That,
difference. I really made a shift. I made a shift in the industry, to be honest. So in that specific product category, within a year, no, it was like almost 14 months further. I got how do you call that? A headhunter. Somebody reached out to me like, who are I want to learn more about you. Who are you? And so and then I went to a competitor.
wow. Yeah, they offered you
Yeah.
quite a bit of money to go do that. That's very common in the financial services
Yeah.
as well. So straight out of
Yeah.
college, I went to Morgan Stanley, and you pass your Series 7. They teach you how to cold call. They teach you not just about stocks. I mean, you have to have a background. Like I had a finance major, but if you start to exhibit the ability to close business, to talk to high net worth individuals, to start managing any amount of wealth, all the
Yeah.
banks want you. So you'll get offered $1 million signing bonus to go work for, a competitor, maybe Goldman Sachs, for example. And at the
Exactly.
time, so you could be 3, 4, 5 years in the industry, and then you're getting $1 million check, plus you're making a 1% or a percentage of the book of business that you're managing. So if you worked your ass off and built up a business, you could make significant money. And basically, it was a knowledge based sales. It wasn't just close the sale and move on to the next sale.
Exactly. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds familiar. And I think like if I just look at my story, so that's like so many years ago. I'm 51 now, so yeah. And in 2008, I got the opportunity. So I did so many sales jobs, like being a sales manager in printers, insurance, whatever. But then in 2008, my father he had a traditional advertisement company. And in Dutch we say, so I'm gonna say it in Dutch: the vent is the tent, and that means the owner is the company. So it means like if the owner is away, there's no company at all. There's nothing. So and he discovered that it was not a very nice starting point, to be honest. But I took over the business and I tried to make something out of it, and I changed the traditional advertisement into online. So that's how I entered online. So that's how I started doing e-commerce. And I just told to people, because my father, again, the yellow pages are coming back in the story. And it's not because I chose this, it's just my path. Um, my father did advertisement in the yellow pages. And in 2009 in the Netherlands, the yellow pages just stopped over. It was done. So like
Mm.
one day and the other. Like if you go back and just do a search on that, it's amazing. Like a complete business just done over. And then they moved to online. But all customers who are like doing an advertisement, some of them were just investing over 60K a year just on being on the back page of the yellow pages in specific regions. So I reached out to them. I said to them, like, hey, listen, you can do this online. Even better, because you can find your audience, you can get the click. If they enter a specific page, you can funnel them and you can just get, because I just brought my knowledge from sales into the online space. And I said to
Yeah.
them, I can be an extension of your team. So I can be your salesperson, but I'm doing it online. And you do not have to hire me. You do not have to pay me for 40 hours a week. I will be there from a distance. You pay my hourly rate, but I want to make one agreement with you. At the end of the month, we're going to count the increasement in revenue and margin. And based on that, I give you the opportunity to decide what you're going to pay for me. Okay, I'm in. So that was 2008. I built that company out, not that big. So this is also a story about me. I'm not an entrepreneur type. You have met me sometimes. I'm very passionate. I'm always running around doing a lot of stuff. I'm not the entrepreneur type. I'm not a manager. I fail on that part. I don't know what it is, but I just fail. I don't know what it is. Sales
Well,
of my
that's
thing.
why you've got Mel's, right? Like you need a good
That's
partner
it.
to
So
complement each other.
exactly. Mel's, I know Mel's very well. And in 2014, I had an office, and he was looking for a space to sit. Like, hey, so you join me? Come on, it's fine. That's great. And then one day, 2014, he started with the ASM course. And we were just joking around, like, is it really possible to sell a product on Amazon? So, yeah, well, let's do it. So we created a logo and the brand, and we started creating some packaging. So I organized the designs for that stuff, and then we started, and it lifted up like crazy, like crazy. Like
Yeah.
what's going on here? And well, the business really grow like from 1,000 to 100K, from 100K to a million, from a million to 10, and up. You already know. You heard the story last time in London, and Mels was invited on stage, being the one of the few doing over 100. It's amazing to be part of that. But in 2016, we both had a very passionate feeling about consumer insights and consumer behavior. Coming off our background from sales, we can speak about those things for hours, and it's just funny, if you do sales, um, I always had a marketing team behind me, and the marketing team is kind of saying me like, "This is the market, this is the product, these are the USPs, whatever." So if you just go by the marketing department, and I open up my bag, they are filling it up with brochures and stuff and samples and whatever. I think you're a total idiot if you go to a customer and spread it all out on the table. Then you don't get it. So what you need to do is you just sit down with someone, you just start having a chat. What is this kind of person? Is he introvert? Is he extrovert? Is he rational? Is he emotional? How does he make decisions? Is it a fact finder? Is it a quick starter? Is it someone who's looking for margin and prices, and he wants to see the truth behind each digit? Or is it someone just, you know what? Make my day. If it's all easy and you can do it for me in 1 hour, I'm in. That's the first step. Then finally you say like, hey, listen, you are in this company for whatever, so many years. So I think this and this is important to you. Is that right? Yeah. But okay, but what is the most what this is most important? Okay, fine. And you start talking about it. And then finally, hey, listen, I have just 10 minutes and I need to go to my next round. I have my next customer. I need to go. But before I go, I think, and then I open my bag and I just grab the specific sample or the specific brochure that marketing gave me, and I say, I think this is what you're looking for in this. So what we're gonna do today, and then just shut up.
That's the key, right? Yeah, the
That's the
key
key. That's the
that the
key.
key the key is to shut up. I think that a lot of
Exactly.
people underestimate that. There's a lot of studies on that where um, once you make your pitch, that you have to not say another word. The next person that says
Exactly.
another word loses.
That's it. That's it. And then once you see some doubt, you can ask like, okay, what are you doubting? What is it? And then let them say it, because it's fine. You need some objections. If you don't get any objections, you have no sale.
That's
It's
true.
funny. It's funny. Like if you get some objections, you can take that away.
That's a
And then
great
if you,
transition because I think that what some of the best feedback that I've seen from Intellivy are the objections, right? When
I know.
you those so a big part of what you've developed is based on objections because you
Yeah.
follow the drab study, the dominant reasons not to buy.
Yeah.
So you want the negatives, you want the reasons people are choosing a different product, not yours,
Exactly.
and why they wouldn't want to buy the features that you're presenting them, because that's going to give you the best feedback on how to improve your product or the positioning of your product.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. That's it. And if you know, so that's kind of like where it's all coming to now, because that's what Intellivy is doing. We are tapping into consumer insights. So we are tapping into consumers' minds, and we learn about wants, needs, and desires. We learn about objections, and all together you can craft a message, you can craft a pitch, and just make a moment of silence, and people will say like, "Yes, I want to have that product." And that's the whole point. That's the magic. And it's not, well, I say magic. It's so common. We are all consumers, and people buy from people. I mean, you have to listen to people.
Right. What's interesting is like a lot of times it's when you don't include something in the image you don't necessarily think is important, and then people start choosing a competitor that you put up there, and then the reasons you get that they chose them
Mhm.
are because they included this one element. It wasn't about the design. It wasn't because it's a better product. It wasn't because of, it was simply because of the way you presented the product. And then
Definitely.
that's such an easy fix that you can then turn around, address that one thing, and then go run it again, and then you win.
Yeah.
And so it's the iterative process around the polling as well. Whereas previously, if you did this traditionally, you would have to go recruit 50 people to sit in a room. You would show them something and then or options, and then you'd get their feedback. And then that costs you a ton of money, right? Like thousands of dollars. And because you have to compensate people for being there. And then you'd get that feedback, and then you would have to spend, I don't know, many hours changing your presentation, and then go through the process again and schedule another one of those things weeks later. But what's incredibly powerful about what you've built is I get that feedback. I can use AI or Photoshop or whatever it is in minutes, change my main image to present that thing, that feedback that I got, and then run another poll. And then within hours, I've got my results again, and I can just iterate for a much, much more cost-effective and faster way. So the feedback loops and the iterative process are just so fast that straight out of Midjourney, for example, like this is the way I start my process. I go into Data Dive, I analyze a product, and I say, okay, I can win from an SEO perspective. And I analyze the product, and I say, okay, the current sellers are beatable from an SEO perspective. That's my bottom line. I want to be able to outrank them on keywords. I want to make sure that they're not doing a killer job, that there's a lot of keywords. I have that criteria. Then I run the AI product brief. So I ask AI, go tell me how to beat them. Go look at the reviews, tell me what people like and don't like. I need to know what the objections are already.
Yeah.
And then I can say, okay, I can do a better job from a design perspective. So then the AI is giving me these suggestions, but that's just a hypothesis. So if I take everyone back to being in science class in high school, right? You learn about the scientific method. You have the hypothesis, but you have to prove that, right? With a real study. This is where you come in. This is where I can take that design. I can go to Midjourney and I can take a design with that hypothesis, and then I can go use Intellivy to tell me why people don't want those features, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And,
yeah.
yeah. And so this feedback loop that I use, the way that I use Intellivy is not necessarily the way that everyone uses Intellivy, but maybe you can walk us through a couple of case studies. I want people to really understand the power of this, because we're not just selling Intellivy, but I want people to understand why it's important and how to use it, and maybe some ways that some others have used it that have been super powerful, or the insights.
Yeah. But I would like to grab the opportunity, because you are, in my opinion, you are an industry leader. You know a lot of stuff about the Amazon marketplace, and like how to do sales and how to do it correctly, how to interpret the data, whatever. And you train also a lot of people. I want to first address one other thing. I think Intellivy is a polling platform. But if I say polling, then everybody already thinks what it is. Everybody's already saying like, oh, that's split testing. I do that for many years. Oh yeah, it's A/B testing. I do that for many years. But no, it's not the same. And I don't know how to, because you're already using it, and maybe you are easier to explain this, what the difference is, but it's not A/B testing. It is A/B testing. It's part of it, but it's just an instrument in Intellivy, in all the flow that we guide consumers in there. And then at one point that, yes, there's a split test. But that's not it, if it makes sense what I'm saying.
No, 100% it makes sense, because the process is much more in depth and scientific. If you just ask people, which one do you like, you're getting some feedback that's usable, but you didn't have the right premise to even ask them the right question, right? Did you ask them even the right question, and did you present your product in the right way to even get the answer, the real answer of that's going to be indicative of your future success? So what Intellivy is doing, and which I think is great, is that your methodology is based in science, and you steer people down this path that's that is going to give them the best chance of success, right? That's
Yeah.
my understanding of why Intellivy has such a huge advantage, or the users of Intellivy have such a huge advantage.
Yeah. 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 Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. But I think if I respond to what you just said about your procedure, I do not say like it should be different. I think the main thing is like you have an hypothesis, and whatever it might be an hypothesis like, okay, I'm entering a specific category and I just want to know why one product is uh, uh, $30 more expensive. Why is it getting more sales than mine? That already might be like, oh, maybe it's because they have a better quality. Okay, well, let's test that. What is a better quality? What is it? Like maybe you know what it is, but it might be your gut feeling that is saying something. Well, don't listen to that. Well, you can, but then find some proof for that. But just not do it based on your gut feeling, but just search for like what is the hypothesis that you have. And I think your approach with Data Dive is giving actual data. So it's based on listing information. It's based on specific USPs that are mentioned higher in bullets than others. Probably someone did that because of, I don't know. If I compare it to my sales story that I just did, like I have a bunch of information in my bag, but I just wait for the moment to pitch it. The same applies to the seller who's already doing a listing for a year and 3 months. He probably learned something. I don't know what it is, but let's learn from that. And do not just copy it, but learn from it. And I think
Oh,
you are doing a deep dive. Well,
100%. And I was just having this conversation with my team maybe yesterday, where I'm going through our listing images, and we're redesigning everything. We have a massive design team, and they're phenomenal. But we're redesigning all of our packaging and branding, and we're including our packaging in the main image of a lot of our products because it increases conversion rate. But one of the things we're doing is we're adding the main keyword into the packaging so that the connection with the buyer is significant. So the most searched term that is most relevant, we're putting in the packaging so that when someone searches for something and then they click on your image or they see your image and then they see what they searched for in the image, they know that that's what that's what they want, right? What I'm wondering is, when is Amazon going to get dynamic so that we can do dynamic, the way Google does it, to where we can change the image based on what they searched, and then we
that
can
will be
add a
even
different
better.
keyword.
That will be even better. But I think
Amazing,
still, then, to
incredible,
be
right?
honest, I think that's too much knowledge and too much data for the current state of Amazon sellers because they
Well, this is
they.
what my goal is, right? My goal
I
is for
know, but
everyone that
do
follows
you
the
understand
seller
what I
systems
mean?
method, and the people that we teach, we want to elevate. We want them to be
No,
we
but
want them to be 10 times better than
of
every other
course,
seller.
yeah, of course. But I think we both see it, and I'm direct, so I can be Dutch. I can be as Dutch as I am. I think most sellers are so lazy.
So lazy.
Really, honestly, like so lazy. I just gonna give an example now. So I recently spoke with a guy. He did a poll, and he reached out to me like, "Hey, can you just look into the data? Because I'm at the point of doing some hypothesis and create some images around that, test and validate it again." Because that's the process we recommend: ideate, hypothesize, create, test, and validate. Now, so I said, okay, what poll insights did you get? Well, he said, like, first off, I need to do something with a filter. So I need to make clear that my filter is 99.9%. It's going to clear the air. So probably people are listening to that. They already imagine what product is. But nevertheless, that was one thing. And the other thing was he had to do something with the replacement of the filter or the duration of how long the filter remains and stays healthy, whatever. So I looked into this poll research in the insights, and just a few people were mentioning that. So I said, well, the dominant feedback that you get is your price is very low. Most people do like your product because it's a low price, or they say, I doubt if it's even good because the price is too low. So price was the most dominant thing. Now, within Intellivy, it's very easy with poll insights, with the the setup. So we have some poll options. You can blur price. It's very easy. Just click and it's gone. It's blurred. So I said to him, do the poll again. and then blur the price. And I also gave an explanation why. I said, listen, if I'm your sales guy, so here I am again as the sales guy. I said, if I'm your sales guy and I'm away for a full week selling a lot of products that you sell, and at the end of the week, you ask me, why did you sell that much? And I said, I don't know. I think people just like the price, right? Is that enough for you? Is that enough? Is that enough for you to pay my salary? Are you happy now? He said, well, no. So, okay, why not? So what is your question then? He said, well, I want to know why people like my product or not. I said, exactly. So probably you're going to challenge me. You're going to say, you know what? We're going to double the price for next week. I'm already sweating because I think like I'm never going to sell the damn product for twice the price. But I will get back with insights. Now they're complaining about color. Now they're complaining about size. They're complaining about whatever. And exactly this happened when we blurred the price. Just so this is not double the price, but we blurred it. It's just gone for all the options. And at that point, people are saying it looks too small. And this is interesting. You see that also very often. Actual
Yeah.
size, it looks too small. It will never clean my room. It will never has the capacity as it said in the title. By the way, it is saying in the title this and that. I doubt it even. I don't know if it's true, but I doubt it. Etc. 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 54 responses negatively around that specific product. Tons of insights to really improve something. That's
Massive,
that's
massive feedback. That's the type of feedback you have to dig out. Yeah, and
that's it.
that's incredible. What I love about the fact that you do the polling so that it looks like a listing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
always. Yeah,
yeah, and then
yeah.
that way you can test so many different elements. But when you're getting something as simple as pricing being the main distractor, get rid of that distractor because you want to get to the bottom of it. You really want to understand what is it about your product that people love or don't love.
Exactly. And honestly, if you so now we are speaking about main tile, like what is getting the click, but we also do the same thing for the complete stack. And that's where I use data dive. I use data dive because it gives me a very quick overview of all the stacks of relevant competitors, and I just search for differences because I want to learn. This is the marketing story that I mentioned before. Marketing is doing something like we have to tell this, we have to do that, we have to do that. For instance, a grill. A grill accessory set. I don't know if I say it right, but correct me if I'm saying it wrong. But if you're saying it is, you can use it for 4 types of grills in your second image, or the other competitor is saying ours or ours against others. So that's their second image. Can you follow what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So this is already a different approach. Why is one seller saying ours against others, and the other one is saying you can use it for 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe a third is saying it's very easy to clean. Okay, that's interesting. So now you have already 3 approaches for the second
Right.
image. I
And the
want to
second
learn
image,
from that.
in my mind, so you can correct me here, in my mind, you have to understand your avatar and what is the need that they're trying to fill, and then that dominant need should be your second image. So you need to be
Agree.
solving that problem with your second image. So if the problem is I want to make sure it's compatible with my grill, then the 4 grills compatibility is going to be the best one. But if it's going to be I need something easy to clean, if that's the number one concern
Well,
people have, then that should be the
yeah,
second image.
and it's not or, it's probably and, because if
Oh,
you
it's
take
blurred, right?
yeah,
70% want this, 30% want that, right?
exactly, because if you get 3 of those options, and let's say that a few people are saying like I like it because well it's convincing me that this one is better than the others, then still it comes into place. But in what order? Maybe you have to shift it a little bit to the third image, or maybe you can combine it even with some other message. That's what you will learn. So based on other stacks, based on other sellers, other sales stories, you just learn what are the converting USPs and where do I position them. And
Right.
and that so we can reorder, we can completely
And
reorder a stack.
USP for everyone watching, just in case you're
Exactly.
not, is unique selling proposition,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. And most of the time, what I see is like if you have a best selling item, then everybody is just, well, copying the bestseller. Honestly, like so many do that. But that's crazy
Right.
because probably the bestseller got his position based on whatever he did with the AI A9 algorithm in the days that everything was possible. But
And what
right
was the
now,
answer there? So with the grilling, what was the best second image to have?
we don't know yet. We just started it.
Oh, okay. All right. Don't leave us with a cliffhanger here. You got to let us know later. What
No, I
was?
don't know it. But
Give us a couple of
I do
cases.
know from another story that's around the bookshelf
Okay, let's hear it.
yeah, that was for the bookshelf. Interesting. This is funny. Competitors were doing a lot of lifestyle.
Mm,
Well, lifestyle is interesting. People hated it. So whatever stack we
yeah.
took from competitors with lifestyle, you might think if you sell a bookshelf, you want to show lifestyle. But people hated it because it has to resonate with your specific living
It's
space.
so hard to match what that person's
Exactly.
use case is going to be. And if it's different,
So
then they don't like it. Yeah.
exactly. So we learned something. What we did is we just focused on the USPs. And the focus USP was, for instance, sturdiness. Sturdiness is important. It has to
Mm,
hold some weight. Other thing was easy installation, very important. So we took that one as well. Easy installation. We placed a woman in there who is kind of installing it. Why? Most avatar, most buyers are female. We did something more about easy installation. So we kind of the theme was around sturdiness and easy installation, and just kind of repeating it in all different ways through the stack. And the final image was a lifestyle, but then not lifestyle, but four. So the image was divided in four parts, and then bathroom, living room, kitchen, bedroom. So it is showing a design, it's showing a lifestyle, but it's even more saying you can use it for this, you can use it for that, you can use it for that. So it's more practical. And you can use the magnifying glass in Amazon, so you can just skip all or just watch all lifestyle. Very, by the way, good tip to do it that way. But it's funny, and it worked. It worked.
I love that. So I love that you're kind of throwing it in there, but not as the main focus because people need to focus on what's important to them. And if
Yes,
it's not related to them, they kind of just blur it out anyway and they don't really want to look at it.
that's it. That's it. But that's
Mm.
again, it's the same as a sales story. I
So
can
that would work
see,
for almost anything that's decor related, right? Like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. If I have a conversation, a sales conversation with a potential customer, you can already discover in a few seconds, boring. Well, if you do not sense that in the e-commerce channel, then you are not getting the point because you want to grab the attention each moment that you get. Like, yes, yes, yes. That's the whole
100%.
point. And if you
You
don't
need to
know
check
what's
the boxes.
needed,
Every buyer has in their mind a set of check boxes that they need to check before
that's
they
it.
make the purchase. And if
That's
you
it.
don't check those boxes, they're going to go to a competitor.
That's it. And I want to mention this that so again, I think Data Dive in the combination with Intellivy is one of the best. But Intellivy is doing pre-sale testing, so we are diving into pre-sale decision drivers. And I mentioned this before to you. Like if I just walk on the street and I have a physical store, and I ask a bunch of people, "Hey, listen, I'm selling, I don't know, coffee grinders in the street." Without showing options. And I'm asking people, if you would buy a coffee grinder today, what would be important to you? Just that question. You get insights without showing options. Well, this is already
Right.
where we step in.
I
And
love
then,
that. Yeah, because
yeah,
you don't
and
have a
then,
preconceived notion as to what a coffee grinder
no,
looks like or what, and
no,
you're not choosing based on what you think is most attractive, has the best content, best design, matches your
that's it.
color or decor. You're just talking about what are the main features that I need to make sure that I have.
That's it. That's it. Now, and let's say that someone is saying like to me it would be to me. By the way, I'm a coffee drinker, so I to me it would be important. I hate it when the beans are getting dried. So that kind of like if you just open the bag with fresh beans, the smell of it, I love it. Like I love it.
Mm,
But already in a three or 4 days, the smell goes away. So if I'm throwing my beans in the coffee machine, I want to make sure that it is closed. It is kind of like how do you say that, vacuumed or so, like
yeah, vacuumed or sealed.
sealed,
Yeah.
sealed. Now let's say that would be important to me. Now I'm just me, doesn't matter. But let's say that with me. in a focus group of 100 people who are interested in buying a coffee maker or coffee machine, and 40 of them are saying like that is important that it's sealed. Oh, that's interesting. Now, what if you enter sealed in your main title? Because we always speak about image, but we have the title as well. That's your pitch.
Right.
It's part of it. So if
Yeah.
I can say something about that and it already gets the attention, then I have something.
You're checking a box, right? And not
That,
only that, you're going to resonate with people who didn't even think to say that, but as
that's
soon
it.
as you say it, they think of it and they say that's something that's interesting and important to me. They
That's
didn't
it.
realize it until you said it.
Yeah.
I always
And I
say,
don't
because
know.
there's two strategies on the title as well, because mathematically we tell you what keywords to put in the title, in what match type, and in which order to maximize rank potential. But we leave a lot of space in there on purpose because you do need to make it readable, and you do need to
Exactly.
address some of those USPs that people want that don't show up in keywords,
And
right?
make it human. Make it
And make it
human.
human. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm just reading a bunch of keywords, I'm not interested. Well,
So the mistake
probably
that I
I'm not.
see people using with the titles is that they make it too selly, right? They
Yep.
sell too much, and then
Yep.
you miss out on all the indexing and the keywords and the rank potential. Or
Yeah.
you feed it into ChatGPT and it does that for you, and they oversell it, or they focus on keywords that people aren't really searching for, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't match the data and the math with and maximizing rank potential with
That
the human nature, right? Which is the selling side of it. So you need to do both.
that's it. Yeah. That's it. And I think like even further, uh, um, and I keep continuing the comparison with physical stores and with ordinary or traditional sales. And I think it's very good to learn that, to teach that to everybody. Because if I enter a store and at the front door, sometimes you see banners mentioning something about a specific product, saying like it's easy or it's the most fresh one or it's the cheapest, whatever. When I enter the store, I already have it in top of my mind. It's not that I'm saying it, I'm not conscious about it, but it's there. So it's printed. It's now I think the same applies to Amazon. If you have your headline search ad and you invest a lot of money in the image and then free options beside it, if you already know what to mention there, you're dominating the category because you bring something on top of mind that is important and you're the one offering that. So you're the only one when you start with it because probably it will be copied again, but be quick. But it works. It works. To give an
Yeah.
example, again with the bookshelves, I did a search, for instance, on bookshelf set of two. And then you see a competitor on top with the Google Ad search where everybody knows that it's an expensive spot. And it was showing a set of five, a set of four, a set of six. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm looking for a set of two. What are you doing? I
They
don't know.
did
Like,
not they did not run the ads and negative them. So this is great because this is exactly what I've been teaching my team and what I'm teaching Inner Circle members around how to effectively use our new rank tracker.
yeah,
So we have Rank Radar and our keyword tracker, and you see a heat map over time. But what we've done to disrupt the industry from a keyword tracker perspective in Data Dive is that we've added PPC performance at the keyword level, but not only that, SQP data. So you can see what is your impression rank, where you're targeting the keyword, the PPC performance over time, over any look back you want, and the correlating organic rank over time. Here's what I'm understanding. I have a toy, for example, that is for 2 years old to 5 years old, right? Very narrow window because it's a toy. But when you get to 5, 6, 7, there's another version of this same toy that's for older kids. And so what you see is that when you have a root word for that toy name and it performs well, just okay, just in the root, because you have a wide range of ages that can buy that toy, right? Based on
yeah,
that styles. But then when you get to the sub roots where you have ages, the 1 to 3, 3 to 5 ages perform awesome, right?
yeah,
Very high conversion rate. in that same subroute, when you expand that subroute and you see 5 to 8 and 8 to 10 and 8 to 12, all of those keywords perform poorly, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I'm trying to teach my team is to understand the correlation between the keyword, the age group, and the product, and then not target and waste money on that, right? So this is exactly to your point where that person had the set of 2 that you searched for, but they were still targeting the set of 2 with their set of 5, set of 6, set of 4,
That's it.
whatever.
That's it.
And what
Yeah.
what I need to train my team to do, and what I need to train my members and my students and data dive users to do, is to go into that keyword tracker, look at your performance, understand why the subroute is performing worse, and then make the decision to stop targeting it, stop wasting your money, right?
But it's also
So
interesting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's also interesting if you speak about subroutes, a subroute is also a digital shelf.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So if you grab a subroute and you just picture like, okay, what are the options showing up in this subroute, and then test your product up against that subroute, you might discover if you can change your image to make it broader so that it's touching more routes, or you can maybe create a variation or create an extra listing because you see an opportunity, grab that also. And
Oh
that's
my God, this is why we get along so well. So that when I see subroutes, I think of opportunities for variations all the time, right?
yeah, exactly.
So those
Yeah,
subroutes to me in my mind are, I need an older version. I need a version of that same toy that meets what the kids want, that are older, more
yeah,
sophisticated, a larger version, a different material type, whatever it is that meets the needs for that subroute. And it could be in toys, it could be that the subroute is turtle, right? It's that toy with a turtle design. And right now I'm only selling a unicorn and a dinosaur. And then I see a bunch of people searching for with multiple long tail keywords with looking for
that,
turtle.
yeah, exactly.
And I'm not
Well,
going to convert with my dinosaur and turtle keywords. So
yeah,
what I need to do is I need to negative my targeting for the dinosaur to make sure I negative turtle. But that's a huge opportunity for me to go design a turtle one, right?
that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. And I think like we always say, target precisely. If if you know your theme, if you know like this is what is grabbing the attention of the potential buyer, and it's everything. Like it's the image, it is the future features, it's the second image, third, fourth, whatever. It's everything. It's everything. But if you know you found your theme, you can really target precisely and get the Amazon's Choice badge, build your listing, make it stronger, make it stronger. It's just all around. Again, people buy from people. It's even an honest story that makes it even interesting. It's
Yeah.
nice, you know.
And I
It's
love the incremental improvement that you can make. And I think a lot of people, like you said, are very lazy. So what they
yeah.
do
I'm
is they
sorry.
kind of just they throw the product up there, it performs okay, and to them that's good enough, and they move on to the next thing, or they just sit there and watch it eventually linger and die. And there needs to be a very active approach to incrementally improving, and I'll even use a strong word here, disrupting yourself. If
Yeah,
you're not disrupting your own product and image with new variations, new versions, new content, new way of presenting it,
yeah.
then you will get disrupted from someone else.
And that, yeah, again, there I come again with traditional sales. If I'm away visiting customers week after week, day after day, and I'm just selling a product because everybody thinks it's a good offer, so continue, continue, continue. I probably I will look for another job, or I will change something to challenge the customer even more because I want to have a discussion. I want to hear some objections. I want to hear something because that's the opportunity to do an upsell. That's the opportunity to ask more money. That's exactly the way how it works. If I find every traditional product, whatever it is, I cannot even give an example right now, but whatever product that it is, if it comes to a specific pain point or it comes to a specific objection, and you can grab that, at that point, people are already they are willing to pay more to get the solution. And you need to understand that it's so simple, but you can do the same thing. You can do the same thing on. I'm just looking at the coffee machine right now, by the way, in Amazon, and the first one that I see in the ad search is just showing me. Well, can we even show it? Maybe let's do it. Let's see if I can do it. Screen. Is that possible? Let's
Yeah,
go
I
for
think
it.
you can share.
Chrome tab. Yeah, here. Share. Here. So here I'm just looking for a coffee machine. And this is so ordinary. Like Mr. Coffee, probably it's a known brand. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not an
major brand.
American. Yeah, so it is. But it's just showing a coffee. And of course it makes sense because I want to have a nice cappuccino, although I rather have a black coffee. But as said, let's say that people find it important to get the coffee beans sealed and it's always fresh. And in this point, someone is stating like always fresh beans, always every cup, whatever. Let's say that is important. Already, it's getting my attention here. So I would go down and look for that, but nobody is doing that. It looks almost boring. So this might be interesting. I don't know what he's doing, but yeah, I don't know. It's not even showing any coffee. I don't know. Oh, it's very expensive, by the way. But nevertheless, I can just look at those things. But
Brevels
you
are
you
very
you
expensive.
no,
Yeah.
but you get my point. I hope you get my point. It's like
Yeah.
you need to look at the consumer. Like what is important? What is coming up to their mind? Like what is it? What is it? That's it.
Absolutely. Well, tell people that are listening how they can walk through using Intellivy. I know that we have a special offer for listeners, for Seller Systems members,
Yeah.
to be able to get some credit potentially, or to do a dive, or what is the offer that you can give them, and what do they need to do to get it?
Well, indeed. So you have the link. That's the special seller systems offer, and if you choose our free plan, so you have no monthly fee, you get $20 starting credits. If you choose one of the paid plans, so that is always like paying monthly, but you get credits in return. But we give you extra credits, $60. Also, this is exclusive for seller systems. That's what we offer. And if you enter our platform, there's a button in there that you can book a demo. There are also some videos with courses. We have objectives that you can choose. Objectives. You can choose those and then follow the wizard, and it will guide you through to the poll that fits best with your needs. But I recommend doing a purchase barrier poll. Find the main objections around your product. I recommend doing a marketplace poll to dive into the details around CDR, so getting the click. And I recommend doing an image tag poll to also learn about what is driving the sale. We spoke about those things during this video. So during this this conversation that I had with Brandon, so it all came all by. I don't know how to say it. Sometimes my Dutch it's interfering me. Nevertheless.
Peter Paul, you are a genius, and what you've built is incredible. I think that it's become a major part of our process. The amount of money you can potentially save, let alone the amount of money you can potentially make by making sure that you are developing the right product that people want before you even start production, is
That's it.
so critical.
Yeah. Yeah.
The biggest mistake I see people make is that they assume what people want. They go make something and then they realize later that it is not. And it is not as simple as just presenting it differently with better content. It's oftentimes that you chose the wrong design or the wrong product. So start with fundamental keyword research, move on to how to make the product better, and then test that with Intellivy, then go to production once you're confident that you are delivering the right product design and right value, and then use Intellivy again to make sure you have the right way of presenting your value proposition, your USPs, your product, so that you can beat your competition.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And I think something that comes to mind for me is like, do not focus if you do split testing. Do not just focus on winner or loser. So everybody's always looking at percentages like, oh, well, mine has 60 over 40. Sorry, dive into the details, because if you have 100 respondents, 40 might say something, then 10 might say something in relation to something. So you need to understand the context, you need to understand the full depth of the information you get, and you have the opportunity to listen to each individual, female, male, age, whatever. So you see everything, demographics, it's all in there. You can learn from actual consumers who are responding to your product, to the situation. They give you insights. Listen to them.
Amazing. How can people reach you if they need to?
Well, well, I'm on LinkedIn. I have my email, of course. If you enter the platform, there will be a button in there to book a demo. You probably end up with me or Tina, my colleague, or someone else. There's so many ways. I'm everywhere. I'm also
You're
traveling a
everywhere.
lot. So if you want
Yeah.
to see me,
When's the next event? Where are you going to be next?
I think it will be Denver, MDS.
All right. And then after that,
After that, AMZ Innovate, that's for sure. And
Innovate for sure is a great one in New
yeah,
York. Yeah.
and I'm already looking forward for Camp Ecom, but that's probably next year, right?
Next January. We've been in Orlando the last 2 years. That's our workshop. For anyone listening who doesn't know, that's a 2-day workshop, very intense, actionable. But I think we're going to move it to Mexico this year. So we're strongly considering Mexico.
Well, it might sound all like, oh, we're so good friends. We were just saying nice things to each other, but I want to be honest about this. So I went to Camp Ecom this year, beginning of this year. To me, one of the best. And the reason is that most of the time you're just attending and you're listening to a lot of speakers spreading the word like, hey, I'm knowledgeable in this, I'm a specialist in that. So a lot of gurus that are telling good things, but still you're just listening and consuming. Camp Ecom was different. It was engaging. It was like workshop style, diving into the details. Open your laptop, and from first day on, you just grab a specific product or even more products if you have the energy and the knowledge. And then it goes on and on and on. At the end of the day, at the end of Camp Ecom, you just go home and you change something, and it's amazing. I think, honestly, to me, I'm still looking for this concept at more events.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I had been to so many events previously that I wanted to do something different, actionable there. You open your
Yeah.
laptop, you're working on your business or in your business while you're there learning. That to me is the most important thing. So we're going to continue to do that style of event, and for all levels, pre-launch, post-launch, executives. We're going
Yeah.
to, whether you're just starting or whether you're an 8-figure seller, we want to make sure that we have value for you there. And most of the speakers you haven't heard of, right? So it's people that are actually in the business doing it, that are experts, that can help you, guide you. But this isn't a Camp Ecom commercial. We'll talk more about that another time. Peter, Paul, thank you so much for your time. If you guys aren't using Intellivy, sign up, start using it. Get your free credit by using the code Seller Systems or the link in the comments below. Thank you for your time today.